The thoughts and opinions on Just Some Podcast are of the hosts and guests and do not represent the views of organizations that employ them or they volunteer for. They are also not responsible for spontaneous black holes or nuclear wars that may occur. You have been warned.
Welcome, everybody, to another fun-filled and exciting special episode of Just Some Podcast. This is Tom.
Hey, this is Ben. Tom, we're only 5 minutes late now with this live episode, so hey, that's a step up for us.
That is a step up for us. And speaking of step-ups, tonight we have one of our very favorite special guests. We have Miss PollyAnna back with us.
Hi, guys. I've missed you.
Well, we've missed you too.
We have missed you too.
It has been a busy few months, hasn't it?
It has.
It has.
2020 has not been just idle. It has. It's been moving with some purpose.
Most definitely.
Purpose. Flus, coronavirus. Cats living with dogs.
Mass
hysteria. You know that I am living in or near the city of the first United States coronavirus person, Everett, Washington.
Well, so how many crazy people were asking you if they thought you had coronavirus?
All of them. They all want tested for it. But fortunately, the state of Washington had the foresight to be proactive. And if we have a suspected case, everything goes through the health department. So we don't have the testing equipment, the swabs and things to do the coronavirus testing.
Gotcha.
That's a good plan.
They bring it to you. They take care of everything. So it's very nice.
That is very sharp of your state to do that for you.
For sure.
But no, other than that.
Well, Tom,
2020 has just been, busy.
Yeah. But this is our first
Tom, I was going to say that.
Live episodes. Gotta love it.
Right? Yeah, 3 different time zones. So we're all the way across the country now.
We're hitting all the time zones.
But Tom, one of the most requested things that we've had is, of course, doing another live episode. So here we are doing it, and we thought, who else can we work with without a net but PollyAnna? Because, well, she likes to embarrass you, and it makes me laugh.
Those are the prerequisites of wanting to do a live episode. We need somebody that can roll with the punches, check, and somebody that is going to possibly make me regret this at the same time, also check. So there you go.
Check.
You can't get much better than Miss PollyAnna on that. And just because we love danger here, PollyAnna, we decided, well, not so much drunk, but perhaps partaking. Yeah, exactly. We're partaking in the John Courage, the liquid version. So
back home, we call that the imbibing. We're imbibing.
Yeah, the imbibing. So, what are you imbibing right now, Miss PollyAnna?
Oh, I got a little something here. But since I might have some, I drink a little bit of everything. You know me.
Okay, so
vodka and water is the biggest part.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she's a hippie. I was expecting to be like wheat germ and kombucha or something. So I don't know.
I do have kombucha in the fridge.
See, I knew it. I knew it was coming.
It's good for your gut
I want to
bacteria.
try that. I've never had it.
You won't like it, but it's good for you. The flavors,
enough,
you have to
alright,
try a
well,
flavor. You have to try
Never mind.
different flavors.
Well,
I
Ben,
thought they all kind of came in just the ass flavor, but okay.
what? Ben, what are you drinking?
I actually am not partaking tonight, Tom. I'm gonna just. It's been a long day, and I'm just. Yeah, I'm just gonna partake in the Diet Pepsi.
He has to get up and go to church in the morning.
hell?
Tom, leave him alone.
I'm letting you down, Tom. I'm letting you down.
No, you're not
You'll be
just
all right.
Ben. You're not just letting me down. You're letting down the
Tom,
specific public that requested we do this while drinking. Our listeners went
You
out of
remember
their
what
way.
happened last time we drank?
Vaguely.
Yeah,
Did
we had to
any
cut
of
the
it?
last half of the damn show.
Did any of it involve a vat of KY jelly or
No.
industrial lube?
But that might be on the purchase list tonight. You never know. We are going to be discussing Valentine's. So a 55-gallon drum of lube could always be, involved with PollyAnna. I'm just saying, Ben, that we pride ourselves here at JSP on interacting with the public, especially when they go out of the way to talk to us and give us requests. And what do you do, Ben? And I'm pointing. What do you do, Ben? You say pshaw and don't do a goddamn thing that they asked you. For all you that asked, by the way, I didn't bring one. I brought 2 different whiskeys up here with me.
He did. He had to go downstairs and get a jingling glass of ice.
I did.
We hear ice jingling the whole time.
Yes, I have one that I can't mix because I paid way too much for it, so I can't bring myself to it. It's a delicious one. It's got a great name. I love the name. It's called Whistle Pig. Whistle Pig. You cannot beat that name. And then another great from Kentucky. This Whistle Pig is from Vermont, actually, weirdly enough. That's not a state known for its whiskey production, but this is a good rye whiskey. And my other one of my favorites is Buffalo Trace, which is from Kentucky. Your neck of the woods.
All of the things in life that are amazing and wonderful come from Kentucky, just so y'all know.
Well, it may
for sure.
start in Kentucky. I don't know if it stays.
It's true. I've got some friends listening now. I'm hoping. I know my friend Russ. I went to college at University of Kentucky. Go Wildcats. I know he's listening because he makes all kinds of comments all day about how wonderful it would be for me to do my own podcast, but he's unfortunately mistaken that I just want to hang out with you guys because you're so much fun, and because Ben is always going forward and taking care of business by drinking while on the job.
Thanks,
or
Ben.
not. It's okay, no worries.
I felt like we needed a designated podcaster this evening, and so I took that upon myself to be the safe one, Tom, and be the designated podcaster to ensure that we were able to at least, get the show shaped somewhere down the road where we want it to be. Speaking of, you ready to get into our social media chat?
Well, I was going to say before you did that, no, it's a live episode. We can do whatever we want, so screw it. I didn't start drinking until we started talking, so it probably won't get really bad till the end. So you, my friend, have squandered your opportunity here.
Ben, you squanderer.
All I'm going to say,
you're squanderer of things.
Weird Science and Chet, and that's all I'm going to say. So on that note,
I honestly don't.
You can find us on.
I honestly don't remember what the hell you're talking about. I love that movie. I honestly don't remember what the hell you're talking about. Am I going to have to go back and listen?
Well, I'm going to give you the quick 30-second.
No.
I'll give you the quick 30-second rundown of it. No, it's
fine. Give me a 5-second rundown.
You were intoxicated.
Well, yeah.
You were intoxicated. Sam called you Chet. You started screaming, "I'm not Chet." loudly.
Oh, well, I'm not Chet, so
On that note,
I wasn't
Tom,
wrong.
They can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, all at Just Some Podcast. You can find us on the web at www.justsomepodcast.com. Our email, admin@justsomepodcast.com. We're currently broadcasting live on Facebook Live, so make sure that you ask those questions. PollyAnna loves questions.
Yes, she does.
You can shape our episode tonight. Tom, what else can they do to help us out?
Well, first of all, when somebody asks them to do something, they can do it. That's something I believe in, Ben. Second of all, they can go to the Just Some Podcast website. They can scroll down to just about the bottom, and they'll find a link to Amazon shopping. They can click on that before they do any of their shopping, and then anything they buy from that point forwards, they'll give us a small amount of proceeds, and it'll really help out the show, and we appreciate it. And then I'm pretty sure there's some other stuff they can do, but I don't know what it is realistically at this point. So, Miss PollyAnna,
Hi.
social media stuff you would like to discuss?
Well, I am PollyAnna from the wonderful and amazing. I'm coming from the Pacific Northwest right now, and I guess it's raining. Could you imagine? Anyway, you guys can find me on Facebook at New Neural Pathways for Life, Pleasure Pathways, and also on Instagram at Pleasure Pathways. And any other time, you can find me sitting here drinking vodka and talking to Tom on FaceTime, I guess.
Yeah, there we go.
But Ben,
we're
not a
doing
team
what we're
player.
supposed to be. Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be a long episode.
For you. Yeah.
Speaking of long, no, just kidding. Keep going.
Speaking of long, we're not throwing to Tom.
Yeah, don't call him. It's okay.
So,
by the way, I had my mouthful of whiskey when you said that. So
oh, yeah.
I would just like to point out, Ben, that really hurt my feelings. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah. Hurt.
All right.
Deep on the inside.
You ready? Are you ready to get through stories that we may have missed so that we can get into the fun with PollyAnna?
Yes, please. Absolutely. I would love to.
Well, it's going to be a really short story because we know that PollyAnna has a lot to cover, and I figure we're going to get some questions along the way, and people will, we'll probably get off on several tangents. So, the story that you may have missed is the FDA has come out with a request that the company who makes lowercase or Belviq voluntarily recall the medication due to the story that we talked about a couple of weeks ago with it having concern for a higher incidence of cancer after taking the medication. The company has done the request as requested by the FDA, so that medication will be coming off the market. Tom?
They did the request as requested when the request was submitted.
Yes.
On the request form.
Exactly.
Okay. So
yes, in triplicate. Yes.
In triplicate. So I would point out again that first of all, when we discussed Belviq on the show, we went over its mechanism of action. I still cannot figure out how that mechanism of action affects an increase in cancer. They have not explained.
I would agree.
They have pointed to a higher incidence of, I believe, pancreatic cancer among the different cancers. But again, this is purely a neural medication, unlike the other ones like oh goodness
Forxiga?
No.
What?
Like I was going to say, like
words are hard.
Yeah, words are hard, especially when you're drinking. Like I was going to say, like some of the other ones, like Qsymia, etc., are actually stimulants or they affect other systems. And I could see, like, oh, okay, so maybe we're having some different effects there, but that's not in any way how Belviq is working. So I'm not really sure.
Right.
No one has come out and explained to us why or how that's going on. So
my suspicion is that they're doing this. my suspicions are doing this in an abundance of caution, just because that story had come out, and so as I'm sure that you see frequently with these wonderful lawyer commercials about, have you or your loved one been diagnosed with mesothelioma after taking ibuprofen? Call us now. Get what money that's owed to you. So it's probably an abundance of caution for them to pull it off the market.
Well, it may be an abundance of caution. However, I still think at some point I would like someone to explain to me why, so that when my patient asks me why, I have a reason other than because. Because right now it's, well, because yeah. That's pretty much what the answer is. And so I tend to not like that answer as much when I'm explaining why I can't give someone a medication anymore.
Because it's not on the market.
Well, yeah, that yes.
Because it's not on the market.
Problem
Makes total
solved.
sense.
I mean, well, that's the simple answer. I'm not saying it surely makes the conversation go a lot quicker, because I'm just gonna start doing that for everything. Why is my A1C 15? I don't know, because I don't know. I just like keep talking, just keep going with the rest of the conversation, just see what happens.
Do it. I double dog dare you, because it's fun when you do stuff like that. I do that.
Yes.
frequently.
Tom, I can't feel anything in my left foot anymore. What's the reason? I don't know. You got toe cuz? I don't know.
Do you
Just
know what
keep
I
talking.
tell people? It sounds like we're going to have to take you out back and shoot you.
They love that.
Oh, they do. They really do. Honestly, with this
ask
accent, I can say anything, and people are just like, "Huh? Okay, whatever you say."
That's yeah. Okay, but if I
she's got a point. I mean,
okay, Ben, but she has a point for her. Okay, I'm not a blonde chick that could bat my eyelashes and give them aw shucks, and the people just stop
You
listening.
might be
'cause their
able to
brain
hug them
turns
really
off.
tight, and your beard could just envelop them in this
Yeah,
loving
just
embrace.
nuzzle
And
them.
yeah, or
Just
maybe
nuzzle
just
them
like
with my beard.
scratch the top of their head with it.
I was really thought you were going to go another direction. Like I could just hug them until they stopped breathing.
I mean,
oh my God.
Okay, well, I wasn't thinking in that lines, but if you want to, got dark, Tom. Got dark. You haven't even started drinking yet.
Well, I've started drinking. I just
but
haven't caught up to you, apparently.
But Tom, with that accent, I mean, would you really want like your neurosurgeon to have that accent? No,
And probably not your
come in there and be like,
your neurology NP either. I did that for a year. That was such.
So what we're going to do is we're just going to go in there and do a little bit of brain surgery. We're just going to take a stick in there and just root around a little bit and see what we find out.
My
don't
favorite.
Want that.
My favorite is, instead of being like, well, we're going to go to the inferior hippocampus. She'd be like, we're going to go over there. It's all whopper jaw, so we're going to go.
We're going to go left of that almond-shaped amygdala. Hang a right. Go down the road a little.
Go over Chandra way, and what you see over there, what you got there yourself, there is what we likes to call in neuro is a tumor. Okay.
So, Tom, it sounds like you had a great Valentine's Day. What'd you get from your wife as a gift?
Peace and quiet. I don't know.
What did you get did you get your wife a gift?
Well, yeah.
Or was this a year that you're not buying gifts for each other? Because that's a trap.
Yeah. Okay.
Always.
Yeah. I'll say, hold up. I'm not.
It's always a trap.
Yeah. I like most men am not stupid enough to fall for that bullshit. Okay. So let's just get off that real quick. No, I certainly didn't, go way out and do a bunch of stuff. She had to work, so there wasn't any chance of doing anything anyways.
Is this the longest story about what you didn't buy her? What did you buy your wife for Valentine's Day? Come on now.
The basics like chocolates and flowers that me and my son then we did the arrangement and did all that type of stuff.
Nice job. Nice job.
But yeah, that that's what I did. So now that you made me look like a horse's ass.
No, you're not a horse's ass. Listen, Ben, what did you get your wife?
We went to lunch and I got her a box of chocolates.
Oh, look, lunch and chocolates. My husband flew back to Ohio for Valentine's Day, so I haven't seen or heard anything from that. For the last 10 years, every
That sounds
Valentine's Day or birthday or whatever, he buys me two cards, which are always one is very, you know, formal and romantic, and the other one's trashy. He gets it from like Spencer's or one of those kinds of stores. This is my favorite thing ever.
nice.
But because we are apart this year for Valentine's Day, unfortunately, and perhaps maybe he's still awake out there in the wilds of Ohio and listening. Happy Valentine's Day, sweetheart. Sorry I've missed you, but I'll be waiting for some kind of something when he gets home, and he knows that.
Yeah.
So speaking of some kind of something for Valentine's Day, that's why we wanted you to be on
Oh,
the show.
Hey, you know what? Today is the best day to buy Valentine's Day candy. Throwing that out at you. Always schedule your Valentine's dates the day after. It's so much cheaper.
Yeah, that's how. Well, it may
That's
be the.
advice from a female.
This is
Yeah, look, I know you say that, but that's just like the whole. I don't really want a gift. Look, gentlemen, that I know
It
there's
is a
one
trap.
listening currently, and for the ones that are going to be downloading this or listening to this on Helium Radio later on, etc., that's an classic bullshit scenario trap. Okay, that right there, because I am truly one of those people. Like Christmas, I don't want a gift. If I wanted a pair of pajama pants, guess what? I'll buy them. Like I don't want it. Just I don't care. Okay, but Valentine's Day and stuff like that, when a woman says, I don't want anything, maybe she doesn't want you to go all out. You know, maybe she doesn't want you to rent the Goodyear blimp and have it fly over the house for 12 hours. You know, I'm not saying you have to do stuff like that. But if you don't come home with something, just don't come home.
glad you continue that.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think I was going to say?
Just glad you continue that. You paused it come, so I wasn't sure where you were going. Glad you kept rolling. That's all.
Oh,
So would you say
Benjamin.
that your wife is satisfied, Tom, with what you got her?
I would never say she's satisfied with anything that I do, so that's probably not realistically a great answer for me.
All right.
Well, maybe PollyAnna can help you tonight.
Maybe we can work on that, Tom. But I just
At
need
least
to know.
I know how to listen. I know that's an important skill, right, PollyAnna? When you're in a relationship, communication. And when someone talks to you and verbally or written communicates to you something that they want, that you should actually do it, right? I mean, that's important.
Ben, you're on the hook, dude. I'm sorry. It's all you.
Oh, I know exactly where he's
Chose
at.
not to
No, it's
drink.
fine.
Oh.
I chose not to drink because I figured one of us had to be the responsible one and make sure the podcast went the way that it was
That's
supposed to go.
right. He's the guy in
Tom.
charge of all the audio, you know. I'm not
I got
capable
all the
of doing
buttons
that.
and stuff, so
I did well enough to get my new headset. My sweet husband took his headset away from me and took it back to Ohio. I met the most wonderful guys. I have to just do a shout out again for Larry, the Norse ninja at the Walmart that's real close to me, because he helped me out. He hooked me up with a new phone and some headphones. Good guy. If you ever get a chance to see Larry at the Walmart, he and his awesome partner Kevin, the graphic novelist. How do you meet graphic novelists in a Walmart? Shut your mouth right now. I mean, well, I think everybody that I meet in a Walmart and I start talking to, they probably have really awesome, interesting stories. Because
Did you?
who stops and talks to people at Walmart? I do.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's how you get kidnapped.
You know,
I was saying, well,
they're gonna have to fight me first.
I don't know. I mean,
I won't
I
go
would
easy.
like to
okay.
fight.
So see, we're gonna work on. We're gonna get the show going in another direction. So, PollyAnna,
Hi.
wanted to have you on after Thanksgiving. Not Thanksgiving. Whew. See, I'm not even intoxicated. We want to have you on after
maybe
Valentine's Day.
You would have known if you were intoxicated.
So thanks for having me on again, Ben and Tom. I miss you guys. I haven't got to see Tom in a long time. Anyway, now that things are settling down and we're gonna move on tonight, since it's close to Valentine's Day, and maybe you did buy the cheap chocolates tonight, and good for you. And you're gonna go over and see your special somebody. We're gonna talk about erogenous zones now. Erogenous.
Hey, now.
Tom, do you know what
Yeah.
erogenous means?
So this is a trick question because I feel like I know what this means, but no matter what I say, it's going to be slightly wrong. And so therefore I refuse to answer.
Oh my
I'm
gosh, you're
sorry.
gonna have to work
I
on
have
your self-esteem issues.
I'm currently drinking, so I
Oh,
can't.
okay. So Ben, that's you.
Yes.
Erogenous zones. Erogenous, not zones, but just
Actually,
erogenous. Do you know what that means? And you're not allowed to look it up on the computer while I'm talking to you.
I'm not. I'm not typing.
Oh, okay, just checking.
That would be a point of arousal,
Right. So
right?
a sexually stimulating area of the body. But as we know, everybody has a different body. We all have different body habitus. We have different body height, weight, whatever you want to call it. All this goodness packed into one little spot. I don't know. However you like to address yourself. Um, but what I'm going to address today are some of the more sensitive of the erogenous zones. And I swear to you, every time I go to look up information, because I'm an information hound, I find these really funny things like, BuzzFeed puts out, or, these little stupid Facebook stories on, how your lips are your only erogenous zone, the best one to get. There's plenty. There's a lot. There's a lot more than what you would imagine, actually. It just depends on where your brain
It's like
is
57,
in.
right?
Yeah. It's like where your ability to feel pleasure comes from. And as we always talk about it, pleasure pathways, your pathway to pleasure is our pleasure.
Well,
So
I would say
does Tom have one?
Tom probably has, I don't know, at least one. I'm just saying, based on some of the conversations we've had before, I know one we don't even need to bother talking about for Tom. So
What's that, Tom?
look, I remember that whole internet push for you to invade my sacred space, and I'm telling you
You
right
don't
now,
have a sacred space, but you do have. Oh, what do you want to call it, Tom? Do you want to call it Mr. Winky?
what? I think she has been drinking way more than I have.
Oh
So
no.
that's what I
Okay.
think.
If you want to call it by its medical name, it's your anus. But
Yeah.
yeah. Or
Yeah.
you could say happy hidey hole,
Yeah. I
or
don't care what you call it. We're not going into it. So it doesn't matter.
Hershey
happy
Highway,
hidey
chocolate starfish. I mean, whatever you want to call it. It's all good.
your mangina. I mean,
Prison wallet. Yeah, it doesn't
Wow.
matter.
cousin wallet, Ben. I love that. That's only good because cop humor. What do you do with you guys? I love it.
I'm just
Anyway,
saying.
Wow.
I'm just saying we're not going into mine, so I don't care. But I'm just mm-mm.
all
I'm
right.
fine
I
with
mean,
whatever
there's
other
no
people do
shame in
with
it.
theirs.
There's no
No,
shame in it.
exactly. I
You have to
don't
do what you
care.
gotta do.
I'm just saying, I remember vividly from the last episode I thought they were going to put up like a web page about how we needed to do that. I'm like, no.
It's
So
not that. It's it's in your comfort. You have to keep what's comfortable for you in your little toolbox of fun. So
I don't have a toolbox.
you need a toolbox of fun. Everybody, or a backpack of fun, or
A backpack.
you can have any kind.
I
You can
have
have a Walmart
perhaps
bag of fun.
no. I have maybe like a Ziploc sandwich baggie, or maybe like a thing of foil of fun at most. I don't really.
What do you keep in foil? I'm just curious.
Well,
You're
it's
not
really
cooking
fun.
fish. What's going on over at your house?
It's really fun though. If
So,
it's
PollyAnna, back to erogenous though.
Back to residence. Oh, so what we were. Oh gosh. I got so off. We always get off topic when Tom's drinking. No, no. Anyway, just kidding. Erogenous zones are those sexually stimulating areas of your body that you can touch, breathe on, lick, whatever it is that makes you excited. And here's the thing: when it comes to erogenous zones, where do you think that all comes from? Where do you think that center of stimulation is? The brain. I'm not waiting on you,
The
Tom.
brain.
The brain.
I was going to say the brain.
Right. Alcohol retards your speed, though. Just to just throw that out there.
So many things to answer to that. So,
Moving forward.
yeah,
So
I didn't say anything.
sometimes,
I'm letting
okay,
it go.
okay. Drink your whistle pig and hang on.
I already drank all the Whistle Pig. I'm back on Buffalo Trace.
Okay. Well, Buffalo Trace is acceptable. I appreciate that. Thanks for ripping for my state. Anyway, back to what we were talking about, erogenous zones. Let's think about how size matters. Oh, how does size matter, you ask? And we're not talking about in the
Okay.
genital way either. We're talking about
Oh,
brains. Did you know statistically that a man's brain is larger than a female's? But there are some
A lot of jokes there.
yeah. We always wait for the butt jokes. Anyway, men do have a 6.5 times more larger amount of gray matter in their brain than females. And women have 10 times more white matter. And why would that matter? Why do we care what matters? Well, because
To the matter.
the white matter connects everything. So all the processing centers of the brain, and which makes women better at multitasking. Whereas when men's gray matter is larger, it makes them more aggressive, apparently. So that's where we're at with that. So that's,
So is that why women can remember something from like 1982?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because of all the connective white matter that they can file that shit back
'cause
in like a file
if you're
cabinet
shooting
somewhere.
off to any. Now, I want to also preface this discussion with there are thousands and thousands of articles out there that talk about different areas of the brain and their supposed purpose and what happens there, chemical reactions, whatever. So if some of this information does not match what you believe, leave a note for Tom and Ben and they'll get back to you about that.
I probably won't get back to you on that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I won't either. Information changes from day to day. It's just like mirror neurons. Do you remember discussing mirror neuron or hearing about mirror neurons ever? I know. Am I the only person that talks about mirror neurons?
Yes.
Yes. So that's your
Yes.
ability to look at somebody else and feel what they're feeling or what have you. So that's controversial. That's not necessarily true, according to science. But what do you do? But yeah. Anyway, back to the brain. Um, what we have to always consider is that we are similar, men and women. We have the same number of neurons in our brains, but the women's are packed tighter. And let's wonder why. Let's ponder that. Why do you think? I'm just curious. This is an opinion. There's no right or wrong answer, Tom. Tom looks at me, guys, like I'm asking. I'm dead on him, but I'm not. I promise. What do you think, Tom? Why would women have tighter neurons than men?
Okay, so I would assume it's because of the greater amount of white matter we were just discussing, and so they have to have that greater interconnectivity, and so therefore they have more neurons.
No, they don't have more neurons. We all have the same amount of neurons.
Okay, look,
those are just closer together.
She kept emphasizing specific words while she was
Like
staring
tighter?
at me. Yeah. I know what you're baiting me, and I'm like, oh God, don't say anything. So now I'm just
When I prepare for the show and you
neurons.
guys call me up and say, "Hey, you want to do a show?" and I prepare all these things and all I do is think of how hard it would be for me to make all these awesome, amazing jokes that use all these subtle things that you guys just pick up on immediately.
Oh yeah, you're being subtle, all right. That's what I was thinking.
How hard that must be to talk about tight
Tight
brains.
neurons, right?
Oh,
If you can't find
Whew,
the humor
I'm
in that,
glad that
I
women
just
are
don't think you
speak.
should be on here at all. Anyway, so that was fantastic. Tom, you're playing into this really well by drinking and not talking.
yes, ma'am. That's what I'm here for, actually.
Did you know that the female frontal lobe is larger than the man's frontal lobe? Would you like to lay down a guess
No,
on why that happens?
more emotions.
Tom, guess on
Se-
why girls' frontal lobes are bigger than boys' frontal lobes?
sensory input.
Sensory input. That's a good thought. I think, I mean, if you had to, if people weren't listening and you were talking like we were talking, would you really say that? Or would you come down to men do this because why, Tom? Just any answer.
Oh, men do what?
Men have smaller frontal lobes because girls are better. That's basically it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. You know what? If it gets you to answer this next question so you don't keep grilling me, sure.
I like
Whatever it takes, I will just agree at this point. So yes, that's the answer I was looking at.
that's the answer. All
Yes.
right. So, depending on your particular favorite erogenous zone, would be how large the somatosensory cortex part of that brain that is connected to that zone. Um, that's how the larger the more you play with it, the bigger it gets.
So what you're saying now is
Basically,
I was right.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. There you go.
You're welcome.
So I just-
No, I really wasn't saying you right now. What I was saying is again.
it sounds like you were saying I was right.
Okay. Anyway. Um, let's move on. Something more fun. No, I'm just kidding, Tom. I love you. You know it.
I, I'm just gonna make my drink like without muting my mic, so you can hear the glass and ice and everything clink. Ben,
Oh, did you guys set up your sacred space
I
before we
I can
started
mute
the
you.
show
I
today?
did.
I
Yes,
brought
I
my.
have my
Do you have your scented
Serenity
candles?
candle. Yeah, Serenity candle
Nice.
going. I do that for
Ben,
every show.
scented candle?
No.
No,
No.
because he's a man's man. That's why.
Oh, what the fuck? So what's that make me? So
You go make your drink. Go make your drink.
I I'm making it right now. I
So
can still hear you
So
insult
we're
me.
going back
erogenous
to
zones.
we're going back to the erogenous zones and how if there's a particular area on your skin or any part of your body, the more stimulation or the more it likes to be caressed, touched, blown on, licked on, whatever,
Whoa.
the larger that center of the brain becomes. So the more you play with it, the bigger it gets, Tom. Did you hear that part?
I certainly did, ma'am. Here
So, talking about erogenous zones, you have to think about what when you're not just talking about sex organs, your genitalia, your lingam, your yoni, that's my favorite parts to say. Um, but you have a sexual response cycle that the body goes through once that excitement phase starts, right? So that's the activation of your sympathetic branch of your autonomic system. And that's what determines whether or not, um, if you're into it or not. You're into the action that's going on that's stimulating those erogenous zones. when you get that rapid heart rate, you start to breathe a little heavier, a little faster. Your blood flow starts to spread out. Can you? Oh, I won't be mean to you, Tom. I promise.
God damn.
Every time I look at him, you look like I'm going to shoot you. I'm not. I promise I won't. Anyway, um, so that blood flow, that increased blood flow from stimulation of the erogenous zones, could you like think about where it would go first or last, Tom?
Well, considering our biggest sex organ is our brain, I'm assuming our brain.
Starts out with the brain, but then where does it go?
Right to your junk.
Right to your junk.
I think that's the
correct.
medical term that I'm
Junk.
looking for.
Or your vaginal wall,
Yeah, I
your
like it. Yeah.
clitoris, your nipples, all of those fun pieces and parts. And it also
The fun
in that
pieces.
All right, then.
Yeah.
fun
The
pieces
fun
and parts.
pieces.
Fun pieces and parts are the best thing.
Well,
What's your favorite fun
so-
piece or part, Tom?
Oh wow.
I gosh, okay. I personally, that's a toughie. Because I've always kind of been a. To be fair, let's just backtrack here. I am more into a woman that is into me. Okay, so let's just go into
Exactly.
that.
Thank you, please.
Because
Consensual sex, please.
Well, that's not what I meant. Jesus Christ, God, I'm not going all Bill Cosby on people here.
Okay, good.
What I meant is I've never seemed to have a consistent like body type, blonde, brunette, tall, short, skinny. Yeah, none of that's ever really been my issue.
It's the last girl in the parking
that has
lot,
shown
right?
interest.
Just
No,
kidding.
God,
Totally just kidding.
Jesus. A woman that is interested in me and we have a connection seems to be a much bigger turn on than a woman with a specific body type. Now, granted, I have lots of male friends that they're like, nope, I like, and they have whatever it is they're looking for. However, I would also like to point out I have plenty of female friends that are exactly the same way. I don't want to date a guy that's, shorter than 5'8". I like a certain race, whatever, like that's their, and I'm not mad at them, like whatever, that's their choice. I've never been that person. Now, if you're talking about a physical feature, I tend to like a woman with a really nice butt. That seems to be my go-to, but
Fantastic.
that certainly is not, that's certainly not the end all be all of anything for me. So
it kind of is the end, but
oh, I see what you did there.
Ben, I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna jump on Ben for a second. Ben, do you know, or can you tell me where do you think the erogenous zones are, or some of the more common ones that you can think of, just off the top of your head?
We'll go with like neck, ears, small of the back. That'd be like, yeah, we'll go with those three.
Okay, Tom, do you have an idea of what your thoughts of the erogenous zones are?
Okay, so, and I'm not being a smartass here. Are we talking like sensory, like touch?
We're talking about, like, I'm going to give you some results of a survey that was done a few years ago on what most people say are their most favorite erogenous zones. So when you think of erogenous zones, what do you think of?
Well, obviously, junk. You got to go right for that. But
You just
honestly,
go right to it, always.
Yeah, right to it. Second place would be nipples, and third place would be lips. Actually, I think would be it.
Gotcha.
So,
see, I was going more like the Not the obvious ones, but
Yeah, no, I'm going straight up obvious, bro.
Straight up
Like
obvious.
frontal assault.
So
Like this is
All right, then.
the Russians are at the walls, my friend. Like they're attacking, like right there.
hilarious. So basically, they surveyed men and women. I'm not going to go into the groups because what does it matter how many is of what is what? But anyway, so for men,
Right.
they much enjoyed the inner thigh and scrotal area, and just above the pubic
right.
hairline. There were some with, they some like the ears, the nape of the neck, the mouth, the
Yeah.
lips. And the nipples, of course, are always high on the list there. But yeah, the pubic
Told ya.
hairline, is that an erogenous zone for either of you two?
I'll be real. Well, I'll let
No.
Ben.
No.
That was a no, Tom.
So Ben's a no. I gotta be real honest. If a chick is like, "Hey, I like you," and she touches me just about anywhere, it's erogenous. So there you go. It could literally be my elbow. It could be, a foil packet. I don't care if she's like, "Hey, I like you." Done. This conversation no longer needs to exist. I'm
All
aroused.
right.
So there you go.
Well, all right. All right. So for females, when questioned, theirs were
Oh my
more the
god.
same. I mean, like mouth, lips, back of the neck,
See,
nipples, of course. Some women appreciate their breasts being manipulated, lower back,
manipulated. That's
manipulated.
a word.
See? Oh, I was right. Lower back.
Lower back's a great one.
Manipulated.
You can
That's
never
my
go
favorite
wrong
word.
Yeah,
by
Tom.
grabbing hold of a lady. Well, consensually grabbing a hold of a lady if you're so inclined to do so. That lower back thing, that's a good one, Ben. Keep that one up. Definitely keep
Yeah,
that
Ben,
one
keep it up.
How do you know I haven't been?
Not even scripted.
I mean,
It's fabulous. It's amazing the things that you guys say.
I'll say I happen to know your wife. I guess I could text her later. I don't know. I could just be like, hey, for show research purposes only, I need some questions answered. So
Oh my gosh, can you do
No, but I do know where her erogenous zones are.
That's important, Tom,
So
to know where your wife's erogenous zones are.
mostly, I'm pretty sure her zones are me in a different room. There you go. That seems to be the number one.
Nope.
Could I possibly
seems to work for a lot of people.
Exactly. Like, could you possibly go to a different state? So, like, ooh, that really turns me on when you are in another zip code. So, I'm just saying.
That
So,
is hilarious.
okay, so here's I got a question.
Well, come on.
What is the average amount of times that a couple that is in a long-term relationship is having sex? What's the average?
Ooh, that is good.
No
That's
shit,
a
it's a good
great
question,
question.
Jack. So that's why
And of course,
I'm going Barbara Walters all over her ass here in a minute. So
well,
here we
because
go.
I look up factual information on things that are, more biological in nature and not the number of what did you just ask me?
I want to know the average, like people in a committed long-term
Uh-huh.
relationship. What is the average amount of times they're having sex?
Tom.
Like a week.
I'm
Week, month, I don't care. Like whatever
Or a
the
month.
gauge is.
Yeah, a year.
okay.
Yeah. Because one
In
of my all-time favorite memes.
2017.
No, hold on. Like one of
Yeah.
my all-time favorite memes is that meme. It's like, it says the average married couple has sex 92 times in a year. It says this is going to be one wild December. I was like,
Hilarious.
every time I see that, I about pissed my pants. I was laughing so hard because I was like, yeah, I get it. So
I just found a study, and in 1 year, and it's average 54 times a year. I'm going to say that that's insane, and somebody should not have 54 times in 1 year. There's 365 days in a year.
Yeah, there's 52 weeks. So you're telling me once a week is an
So
average.
that's basically once a week. Yeah.
Ugh,
Yes. Sounds like it.
What?
well, that's just unacceptable. 54
See?
times a year. And yeah. Eh.
So the
Wait.
Whoa.
When you say it's unacceptable, which way are you?
Yeah,
which way are you?
wait. Yeah,
like,
let's go, sex therapist. Tell me if I'm. Where am I
I'm a
going
sex
here?
educator, Tom. I'm not a therapist. But
Okay, sex educator.
how
Tell me
many
where I'm
times,
going.
like, are you asking me how many times a month would I partake in sexual experiences with my significant other?
I mean, if you want to answer that,
sure.
you can.
When Barbara
Is that
Walters
what
on,
you're? I mean,
I'm
we
saying.
can't talk about the last couple months since we've been moving because it's been a little
Well,
sketchy.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
a lot, a lot more than that. My husband has an app for that. You know, he's keeping a logbook. He likes to.
God bless him.
I know
Yes.
he's so. You know, he's a very numbers oriented kind of guy. He's a math guy. That's what happens when you get your doctorate in nursing and
he's
you think you're
Quality
trying to set the high score.
assurance. Yeah.
Yeah,
Quality
he keeps
assurance.
it. He's probably got a spreadsheet for it. Honestly, he has spreadsheets for everything.
Got a spreadsheet for the date, the time, the
Oh,
rating of it.
The
Trying to set
number,
the high
of,
score.
rating.
I
yeah,
get it,
the
yeah.
number of orgasms, whatever. You know,
He's going to be like, you know, on Tuesdays, we're really falling behind. Okay. So we need to figure this out.
It's
I
like
love quality
sometimes I
assurance.
tell him it's like a prison here. No,
I'm just saying. Okay, so I'm just saying I am part of group chats with other guys.
yeah,
I don't think I'm alone in wondering what is the average. Like, am I bitching about something that doesn't actually? Yeah, data driven actions. Here we go. Oh wow. Here we go. Now we're getting some viewer responses on the message board here. See, I knew I was hitting a fucking vein. All right, here you go. I got the flash and the needle now, baby. I'm just saying, I know I'm not alone in this. Okay, so we're talking once a week. Do you think that's adequate?
let's say I think adequacy is not a good term to use.
Fair. Okay,
I don't think adequacy,
that may be the wrong term.
because men do. Well, I'm going to say I'm not trying to generalize, but most of the gentlemen that I
Generalize.
speak with, gender wise, say things to me like, "I'm not good enough. I feel like I can't do this enough or that enough." So let's take adequacy out of it and let's change it into, is having sex one time a week with your partner adequate? Or yeah, we can't say adequate. Is it good enough? No, don't use good enough. What can we do to change this verbiage, kids, to make it more man friendly?
Healthy. Is it healthy?
Yeah,
Oh,
there you go.
yeah.
Is that healthy?
Any time that you can show affection and love to your partner in any way, shape, or form, that's amazing. And you know how much I love to use that word amazing? Because I do. Because I'm PollyAnna amazing. That's what happens.
Okay, so all bullshit aside,
Yeah.
why don't we get back to the answer here? What's healthy? Okay, because I want to know if I'm crazy.
Anytime.
No.
That was her answer.
What I'm saying though, no, seriously, I don't think I'm alone though. I don't think I'm alone. I think that there are other people that are going to listen to this, and they're not going to want to ask. So I'm asking.
Okay.
Am I fucking crazy?
You are crazy. But
Oh, I'm crazy. I get it. But
so if
for them,
this isn't a numbers game, it's not how many times can I do this. It's a connection game. So if you're doing it for the sake of saying, I did it 6 times this month, or 6 times this week, or we just did it 6 times, it's not the quantity, it's the quality. If I wanted some guy to lay on top of me 7 times a week because, for the hell of it, so I can get my numbers boosted, I could totally do that. But that's not what,
Yeah, but you're a chick, so that's a way different. That's a way different variable because, yeah, I couldn't do that.
Do you think
If
we
I
just
just wanted to
open our
have
car
sex
doors
once a
and
day,
men
could
throw
not do it.
penises at us all the time? Is that what you think?
Yes, I
Yeah,
just
yeah, that's kind of how it works. Yeah,
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 exactly.
that's-
I'm a guy. I understand how the man brain works, and I'm telling you right now, if you're not, it's because you're choosing not to. Okay, that's
Ooh,
on you. All right.
ooh,
So
that was broad. That was
it's broad and absolutely fucking correct. Okay.
oh my
So
god.
there you go. But
Wow,
okay, but
girls listening out there, the whistle pig has arrived.
I think she just called me a whistle pig. So
No, you're drinking whistle pig.
so okay,
Anyway.
so let's go back to this though. I
Yeah.
noticed you said quality of the encounter.
Yes.
Okay. So what do you say to a couple and I have been in relationships where this has happened. And so again, first of all, sidebar here, Jeff, I'm gonna bar him from this goddamn conversation if he keeps saying I'm wrong. Because
no, you're not.
yes, I will. So, anyways, if he doesn't stay out of the comments saying I'm wrong, so I have been in relationships, and again, I don't think I'm alone, so that's why I'm bringing it up. Okay, it's not about me. I don't think I'm the only guy in the world like this. Where when you say, "Hey, you know, we haven't really done it that often," and so they do it a couple times, and they're like, "Well, we did it 3 times last week," and all of a sudden it becomes like, "Okay, so you think because we did it 3 times last week, it's now sufficient?" So how do we counteract that? Like, how do I have that conversation with the other half and say, I'm less about the number and more about the fact that you think that 3 times last week means we don't have to do it again for a month because that makes the numbers equal out. Like, when or how do I have that conversation?
Well, communication we have talked about a million times before is key. Finding out how to have this conversation without getting kicked out of your current relationship is always a consideration. So you have to gauge that on your own. But being honest and once you are with a partner that you feel like you can trust and that they're your ride or die, you have to turn and you become the ride or die mom, the soccer mom and the basketball dad, and you guys are running 24/7 with kids and whatever. You have to make moments count. It's not just the sexual encounters, even though sex is phenomenal. Let's not discount that, but you have to make those moments matter. The walking by and patting your wife on the butt just because, and that's a best thing ever. Just like a little surprise, little tap on the butt. Just lets them know in their erogenous zone of their buttocks that they can, that you think they're still sexy, whatever. I mean, men always say, or ones that I've talked to anyway, generalizing, that what happens is they feel like the woman finds them less attractive or whatever. You're not that 5'10", 150-pound guy you used to be. So you have a self-conscious thing. But if you think about it, women and men both go through the same type of deal. I think for the most part, men are just easier at letting it go. Whenever, you know, just like myself. Personally, I've let myself go since high school. I'm not my, svelte 140-pound self any longer. But
Are you talking
also,
when you say
sure.
let it go, you mean like physically?
Mhm.
Hmm.
Letting go. People get really self-conscious and then they don't want to communicate or talk about their feelings because obviously, communication with somebody that you love and you trust, and you don't want to hurt their feelings. You don't want to say something that's going to ruin your relationship by saying, "Listen, I did you 2 times last week. I'm done with you for the month. I'll see you next month." Right?
But
You
that's
need to
but
have Go ahead,
but
sorry.
that's what I'm getting at
Mhm.
is that there are those relationships where when the man tries to have that honest conversation, obviously talking is not my problem. Okay. Speaking my mind has never been an issue for Tom. But I do have friends that they are the silent types. And so when they finally come out and say, hey, this is an issue, and then the partner has sex twice, and they're like, okay, that should shut you up for a while. What you just said is exactly what's happening.
Mhm.
And then they're like, well, now I'm back at square one. So perhaps I guess a better question is how do you broach that topic of saying this isn't adequate? And on top of that, a second question is, what do we do if that becomes a consistent inadequacy?
My suggestion is to always try the first line communication, just talking about it. If you can't get that point past, so in the, I mean, like, I'm going to speak from my point of view. There have been times in my life that I've had a little bit more of a voracious sexual appetite than my partner, let's say.
You?
Yeah, I know. It's so hard to believe. I know. The guys I hang out with, it's so hard to believe. I have a wonderful husband and we have been married for 10 years and I love him dearly and he knows I do. But there are times, and just like, men have the same fluctuation in not the same. Men have fluctuations in hormones
Of
just like
course, men
women.
have fluctuations. Yes.
Right. So you have that fluctuation. You have those days when your testosterone's a little bit higher and you're ready to bang it out, but she's not ready to. That's a tough time. And when it goes on for weeks and weeks and weeks, because, I think couples, in my opinion, we send these crazy signals. I don't want to have sex today because I don't want to have sex today, not because I feel like you're ugly or grosser. Like, I'm just busy in my own mind. So a big part of that is getting getting your mind back together. So meditation, yoga, driving around listening to Whitesnake. I don't know what you want to do to relax. Tom, that was for you. The driving around listening to Whitesnake. That's great.
Or do some podcast.
Yeah, or just a podcast. Yes,
Listen to us too.
exactly. You could just, whatever it is that makes you relax and get out of your brain or get out of your daily thought processes. You got to do that. And you know what? There's nothing better than doing couples intimacy practices, like just doing breathing together, or I began to do this practice with my husband where I make him hug me sometimes because I just want him to breathe. I want to feel his breath against mine, his chest rising with mine, to connect us. Because sometimes life gets in the way and you're too busy to jump into bed and be romantic, and life sucks when you have kids and you have jobs and you're tired, and your husband's like hiding out in a room somewhere doing a podcast and you got other things you need to do. Or like your husband takes off and goes out of town for Valentine's Day. That's tricky. But yeah, so broaching that conversation with your significant other about what are you going to do, situational at best, but be honest. All you can do is be honest. And if at that point when your relationship isn't servicing or serving you and your partner, then you might think of some ways that you may work on it or not work on it.
I hate when my husband leaves for Valentine's Day. It's the absolute worst.
I know you do.
There's nothing.
I'm sorry, but
there's nothing worse.
I'm sorry, but I had to travel. Sorry.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than when my husband has to leave for that. So
how's that Buffalo Trace doing you, Tom? Sounds good on you.
Buffalo Trace has been fantastic. Yeah, so I started off, I downed that whistle pig like right off the bat. That's what that clanking noise was in the background. And now I'm on my third cup of Buffalo Trace. It's
Woot.
mwah, it's beautiful. I love this stuff. So it is. And
All
Ben,
right.
you're missing out because I know it's available in your area. The first time I had it was when I was in Kansas. So get a hold of it. You absolutely
All
should.
right.
I mean, obviously not that you're going to now when you were asked to, when people were expecting you to, but some other time, perhaps you should.
Okay. So, PollyAnna, are there any other maybe secret erogenous zones that people wouldn't think of?
I'm
That
going to tell you
obviously
that
you can't speak to everybody, but
there are ways
maybe some other
to
ones
make
that
things more pleasurable in any spot. There, just by adding pleasure to any part of your body, stimulating any part of your body, you can you can have an orgasm like that just by stimulate not just your genitals,
Whoa,
but
go back to that.
you stopped drinking for that one, did you?
Yeah, you grabbed my attention.
There are actual people out there that you could stroke the back of their neck or blow on their earlobe and they immediately have an orgasm. Factual. So, how do you do that?
that's
That magicalness?
could be problematic.
Well, it could be, but some people enjoy it, I'm sure. Um, well, just in what I teach in Tantra, we do something for women that have, or men, we do yoni or lingam massage. But there's something with the female that you can do. It's called vaginal mapping. And what's vaginal mapping, Tom?
Okay.
Do you know?
Yeah, I don't know, but I kind of want to now.
Get him a pen and paper. He'll draw him
He's
a
putting on
map
his
to
minor
it.
hat as we speak.
Yeah, I'm taking notes on a legal pad. Let's go.
So vaginal mapping. Um, so women can have tons
No.
of vaginal cervical traumas from childbirth, from something as simple as inserting a tampon. There's all kinds of traumas. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a sexual assault trauma, but those are also traumas that can happen. They can cause numbness to the cervix. They can cause numbness to the parent, like even episiotomies, which they've hopefully have stopped doing, right? You can have all kinds of traumas. So what happens is the tantrika practitioner, whomever is doing the yoni massage, will digitally insert their finger into the vagina and will then feel around the vagina in a clockwise manner to see if there are any sore, tender spots, places that cause pain, or and to get those areas to not be so sore. Like if there's one certain area, then you apply pressure to that area that's painful, just gentle pressure, and then you would stimulate the clitoris to help rewire that neuropathway to allow for pleasure in that spot again where it's not been able to be.
I like everything about what you just said after the word clitoris. So there you go.
But any other place on the body that can that can be used for pleasure, you can begin to massage or rub or tickle or blow or drag spiky gloves across, whatever makes your heart
Spiky
happy.
gloves?
Spiky gloves. I had a friend just told me about some spiky gloves this morning. She said it was a wonderful experience, and I can't wait to hear more about it.
Do you have a number I can call or
I will. We can do one of those three-way FaceTimes, Tom, and
no? I need to know more about spiky gloves when we
oh,
get done with this.
she's amazing. She's also my friend Tantrika Sunshine. So
Heck yeah. She's
yeah,
gonna be able to hook me up with this.
she's amazing. amazing.
No doubt. So I guess when it comes down to it, since I'm sure Ben is probably, I don't know, I'm assuming Ben is probably getting close to wanting to wrap this up eventually. So Valentine's Day,
Yes.
couples, don't agree with me just to agree with me. Don't
I
do that,
never
Ben.
would do that.
I know you wouldn't, Pollyanna. I know you wouldn't, but Ben, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure about him.
Sorry, I had a phone call from one of my jobs, so I was trying to take care of that. So I apologize,
It's
Tom.
all
You
right. We're
should
just in the middle of a
apologize.
live broadcast. Go ahead.
It's okay. It's okay, Ben. Me and Pollyanna,
Couldn't help but call him like
we're looking in each other's eyes. We're drinking heavily. What else do I need right now? So I
that.
guess one shut up. So one of the things I guess is, so bringing it back to Valentine's Day, relationships.
Yeah.
We talked about erogenous zones. The
Hmm.
biggest one being the brain.
Yeah.
What are some things I can do? And I'm saying me, but I mean for the listener out there that either hasn't wrote in a question or is too afraid to write in a question.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that we can do to maybe get the other half, as a man, get the woman more excited?
Well,
Like in the military, it's called preparing a battlefield, right? So, like, how do I get the other half excited?
are you asking
And I
for the
don't mean,
back
and I
door
don't mean,
tickets?
no, yeah, I don't mean foreplay. I mean, what are some things that we can do, even 2 days, a day or two ahead of time, to kind of say, hey, Friday, we're both going to be off, you know.
I think you should definitely always schedule a date. You should at least once a month. If this is your new direction to go in, at least once a month schedule a date with your partner. You have to. And it doesn't end up having to be it doesn't have to be a sexual encounter necessarily. I mean, you should always, but it's situational, always situational. You need to make sure that your your approach, Tom, isn't full on put her hand on your penis and say, tomorrow you're mine. You can't do that. You have to be a little more
Whoa,
subtle.
that doesn't work. You're telling me that's the problem?
Yes.
That might be it. That might be it. I
Oh,
mean, you can't
wow.
say, well, it's funny. I was just going to say you can't call it little Tommy because you can't. You have to call it something else. But, you know, whatever name you have for your member, you just can't say, "Hey,
Member.
yeah, he's hungry. It's time to
Oh, Jesus
check
Christ.
out."
Wow.
Yeah. Oh,
So yeah.
Ben.
So schedule a date with your partner and don't do the same thing you always do. That's a huge mistake that I have found that men do quite frequently is, "Oh, I took her to this place last week. She loved it. Let's go there again." And then she'll shut up. No, don't do
Well,
that. Be adventurous.
okay.
Do some cool partner things.
Okay. So hold on. Actually, I do have a question about that. So let's say you are involved with somebody that is very, um, they are very routine oriented, and doing the same thing is actually what they enjoy. So I understand exactly what you're saying.
Hmm.
However, doing something new, while can be exciting, may also cause the exact opposite effect.
Correct. It can be anxiety causing, but what helps you determine whether or not it's anxiety causing or pleasurable to change things up? You know, it's a communication. between you and your partner. It's what it all comes down to. Like, I can't
You
make.
keep saying this communication thing.
Yeah.
So basically, I have to talk.
You actually have to.
Hey,
You don't just talk, though. You have feelings and words that come out that are synonymous with each other.
Feelings.
Feelings.
That's it. I draw the line.
Okay.
I draw the line at feelings.
You're never going to get your vat of industrial lube if you keep that attitude up, Tom. Gosh.
Oh, I'll get it. Oh, I'll get the vat. Okay, I may not get to use it, but I will get it.
can I just say that our comments are pretty hilarious coming in? Study saying that you had a 3-way. Jeff, apparently ratio is also a bad one. If you're trying to initiate.
Yes, ratio. Yes,
Wife.
I didn't see the 3-way. When were we talking about 3-way?
When Polly said she was going to
Three-way
3-way
call you.
Oh,
Call
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Gosh,
Yeah.
Tom, you drinking is really dulling your ability to catch up on these. What's going on with you tonight?
You know what? Perhaps some of these might be better if I just. It's going to sound bad if I say them right now. So, I would just not assume anybody is going to 3-way anything with me at this point. So that's why I was like, oh yeah, she meant a call. So
Yes,
yeah.
it's a call. It's a 3-way call. Oh, you're adorable.
Switch to
Jeff saying, don't do the same thing. That doesn't mean switch to the anal sneak attack.
Dun, dun, dun. There's no coming up from behind. You just can't do it.
I'm just saying, I watched a movie though, and she
can't.
acted like she liked it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's what's wrong with the entire world now, is that boys learn how to have sex by porn. Period. It's
Actually,
And let's be honest, Tom. You didn't watch a movie. You watched about 4 minutes of a movie. And so, I mean, that was about all it took, right?
First of all, shut up. 4 minutes.
We need men. We need nice men who can go out and teach other men how to appropriately, without being odd and unusual, how to
Hold
love
on.
somebody, how to show affection in a sexual way. They need
Hold
classes
on.
in it.
2 things, but they are directly opposing issues. One, I would agree with you that porn, while I'm not against it, I do agree with Polly that there are far too many younger kids that this may be their first encounter with sexual experience, and maybe perhaps that's what they're thinking. That's what this is going to be. I'm like, no. That is not what's going to happen. Okay. You need to get that out of your head for both the boy and the girl. I think it's unfair to both parties for them to watch this.
I would agree.
For both a woman and a man to go that this is what the expectation is. I think that's fucking crazy.
Right.
I also think though that for women it's a far different I guess I'm losing my train of thought on what the second point is. The first point, well, hold on, I have been drinking quite a bit here, okay, but I completely agree with you on the porn. Like, that should not be how the second part being for when you were saying men should be out training younger men like how to treat women. I don't disagree with you. However, I saw a quote one time, and I don't know who to attribute it to. Otherwise, I would. Chivalry is mostly dead, but it's been killed by women. And I 100% agree with. I still open doors for women. I still call women ma'am.
Mhm.
And all the time they look at me like I am crazy. Like I'm the one that's
Tom,
doing
you can
something
open
wrong.
any door you want for me. Anytime.
For you, ma'am.
Absolutely.
I understand.
You call me ma'am.
Okay.
I don't mind.
Okay, but what I'm trying to tell you is far too many women are telling men now that is a unreasonable expectation. They are killing chivalry, not men.
Agreed.
I would tell any younger man that I see, like, hey, you need to get your shit squared away. Like, you can't treat women like this. Unfortunately, what happens is that the woman that he's after is reinforcing his behavior. And so it's hard for me to say to young men, don't act like this. You should be respectful. You should call, you should ask, etc., whatever the situation may be. But when the woman rewards him in his behavior, guess what? First, shut the fuck up, Jeff. So how about that? How about, I know you're listening live, so you can hear that.
I don't
But the
know.
point
He
is
says he agrees with me. So way to go, Jeff. Thank
that's how you know he's wrong. First of all, it's just
Whatever.
blanket agreeing with Polly over Tom is the first sign that he is just sucking up to her. So there you go. That's the first problem. But I do agree with you on both that porn is not. I don't think porn is a bad thing. I think it's bad for people that's their first experience in sexual encounters.
Right, and it's
I
sad
also
that
think
that's it.
I also think it's bad that women. And honestly, I'm saying this from the point of view of as a man, is that if women decided we were no longer going to accept these lower standards for men, then things would change. If y'all decided to change things, they would change, because
I think that's what's happening. Just like you said, chivalry's dead, dude.
Well, but that's my
and
point.
And yeah, it's a product of what happens. But maybe some women don't like chivalry or want it. That's the problem. Or it's not a problem. That's a factual thing. Women are maybe ready to, take off on their own and not have a guy take care of them.
I don't think that.
It's a different show.
But see, to me, chivalry doesn't have to mean that everybody has to follow a protocol.
Right.
I think to me, chivalry just means that a man has to respect what is going on with a woman.
Great.
And if the woman chooses that she is cool with the quick and easy, then that's fine. But there still needs to be that understanding. Right. And far too often, I think the women are acquiescing to men and just allowing bullshit to happen. And they're like, well, that's just how it is. No, that's not how it is. You have set a new standard of it being so low that just anything is acceptable. And I'm watching my God, how many goddamn messages are going to pop up on my screen?
Well, here's a recipe for success for you, Tom. Start doing
pizza. Pizza is the only recipe for success I have. So
no, this is what you got to do. This is, or for your male friends out there who are looking to have a better relationship ish, whatever their motivation is, more sex, whatever, better sex. Do some sweet things. And maybe that will translate into your partner doing some sweet things back. That means when you walk in from work, instead of throwing your stuff down and walking past your wife and not communicating a hello or whatever, kiss her like you used to when you first met her, and you kissed her, when you thought, wow, she's it. Do that. And then go on about your business and leave her pondering, what the hell did what just happened? Try that. Try tapping her on her butt in a teasing, whatever you used to do when you dated. Try that, because it worked the first time. Maybe it'll work again.
I'm just telling you, if I walk in and just lay one on her and then just walk off, she'll be like, what happened to you at work? Who is she? She'll have a bunch of questions that I'm now going to have to answer to, that I didn't do anything wrong about. I'm going to be like, I didn't do anything wrong.
Well,
but
you don't have to do anything.
PollyAnna did it. And she'll be like, who's PollyAnna? I'm like, PollyAnna's in Washington. And it's going to turn into a whole discussion.
Well, it's okay.
On that note, are you ready to wrap up this episode, Tom?
I'm not, but I mean, we can. I mean, I could text and FaceTime PollyAnna when this episode's over. So sure.
We're at almost an hour and a half, so we probably should start wrapping it up.
You know what happens when you don't drink, Ben? This.
Exactly. I'm trying to keep the show on task. So, hey, PollyAnna.
Hey.
What's your social media stuff again?
Pleasure Pathways on Facebook. It's at New Neural Pathways for Life, and also on Instagram at Pleasure Pathways. You can also look me up at pleasurepathways.com. And you can
find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all at Just Some Podcast. Our email address is admin@justsomepodcast.com. Our website, www.justsomepodcast.com. PollyAnna, we appreciate you coming on.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for having me. Thanks for asking me. I appreciate you all. Bantering. It's fun. It's my favorite. And my favorite also to make fun of Tom and penis jokes with him. It's great.
I'm going to have plenty to text you about when this show's over.
Oh, I'm sure of it, because I'm not looking at your comments. I can't imagine.
Oh, yeah.
God.
All right, you all.
Interesting.
Thank you so much. And I do want to remind everybody to wash your hands, cover your coughs, make sure that you're not spreading any kind of germs, because
no coronavirus.
Yeah, right. Right. And communicate. Oh, and love on
Speaking of spreading on germs, Tom, didn't that kind of go into what we're going to cover next week?
Yeah, well, tentatively. Obviously, I think we're going to be able to get her on the show, but we are going to try and get a brand new nurse practitioner who specializes as a nurse and is really focused on educating people on STDs. So, yeah.
Which I thought would be a great after PollyAnna on the show and talking about sex. We
could do a 3-way call on that one.
Great way to.
Oh, that would actually have to be a 4-way at this point, PollyAnna. Yeah.
Threaten me with a good time. I don't know.
Like I said, text.
Hey,
I'll be texting you after this. So.
On that note, I hope everybody enjoyed the live episode. We got some interesting comments in our comment section, so thanks to everybody for playing along with us. Jeff, Sonny, Dave. I think even your guy from Walmart popped in.
Oh, did he? No, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
I saw
Larry, the Norse Ninja. Yeah, he popped in earlier. So yeah, appreciate it.
Super great guy. If you ever have a chance to come to Monroe, Washington, and go to the Walmart, he's your dude to get your phones taken care of.
There you go. On that note, I hope everybody has a great week.
Hey, everybody, stay safe out there.
Practice swearing just to pass the time. Lately I see why I am alone. I caught some road rage and I thought of you, and all the many times you say I should have known. Took a class so I could find my G, found mediocrity's the best that I could do. Meant to shower but I slept all day. It takes everything to live the life I choose. Oh, what do you say? I screw up everything, and oh, what did you prove except there's only more for me to lose. Failure's not the same without you.